And so now that we know what it means to be at a high performance level, we have to ask ourselves, how do we get there? It's one thing to just be doing things all the time, but how do we have a systematic approach to raising our level of performance to the level that we want it to be? I myself love the quote, proper planning promotes peak performance, a little bit of a twist to the original quote. And how do I do it? How do I coach my clients to do it? It's through 5 simple steps. Now, they sound easy, but let me tell you something. The ability to initiate these things and to be able to do them every single day is where the magic truly happens. So it may be simple, but I can tell you it is not easy. Let's go ahead and dive in for a second here. So the first one is purpose. Purpose is actually one of my top core values. And the idea is you need to have a reason behind doing what you're doing. If you don't have a reason for doing what you're doing, for a reason for being there, sitting in that desk, doing the task that you're doing at that time, why are you doing it? Oftentimes we find ourselves in this loop of doing the same habits over and over and over, and not really having a sure understanding of what it's all for. Raise your hand if you've ever been in a meeting that you weren't sure the purpose, it didn't have an agenda, and there were no tangible outcomes on the other side. Yeah, I can imagine those hands are flying up right now. So if you don't have a purpose for your time, I can promise you people are going to take your time up with their own agendas. So make sure you have a purpose for doing what you're doing. A lot of things out there. The Eisenhower 2x2 box is a phenomenal way to really ask yourself, is this something that I need to be doing right now? Does it align with my long-term goals? So the first step, have a purpose in what you're doing. The second step is presence. Be there physically, mentally, and emotionally. And this is one of the hardest things that people have when it comes to high levels of performance. Why is that? Well, when was the last time you were fully committed to the thing that you're doing? Well, Coach Woody, I'm a multitasker. I'm a high achiever, so I got to be doing a lot of things all at once. No, you're not multitasking. I will throw hundreds of articles your way about the neurological incapacity that we have to multitask. You are deviating your attention, you are multi attending to things, but you're not truly present in the moment, focusing on that thing, right? So when you're multitasking, you're really just saying, I'm going to give this thing a minute and then I'm going to get this thing a minute. And guess what? It takes 25 minutes for you to get fully back and committed to something at a deep, deep level, the level that's required for high performers to continue to see progress over and over and over, to master something. That idea of being in the flow state, which is a psychological state where we are challenging ourselves and able to see progress towards a goal, takes a long time to get back. So multitasking, not happening. Well, I want to have more connection with my kids or my wife or my family. Well, when was the last time you were finding yourself scrolling and then realizing, man, I just spent 25 minutes not being where I should be? So presence is so important. You have to have a purpose. Why are you here? And then you have to be here. You have to show up and you have to stay committed. The next one is positivity. Now, I do not mean putting a smile on your face all the time. I've been told time and time again, I'm a little too positive for my own good. And you know what? I'm okay with that. If that's one of the worst qualities I have, then so be it. But positivity does not mean being happy. Positivity means that I have the belief that something good can come out of this situation. If you don't truly feel like something good can come from this, then you're not doing the right thing. You have to take a step back and ask yourself, am I doing this for the right reasons? Do I have a strong purpose in why I'm doing this? And am I here? Am I truly present mentally, physically, and emotionally to be able to get something out of this? And if I am, and I'm aligned, and it's something that I truly believe I can get from, that's when you're going to see the magic of being able to perform at your best. So you have to be positive that something is going to come from this circumstance. The next one is preparedness. You have to be ready. You have to be prepared. You have to have all your ducks in a row. You have to have the resources available that you need in order to accomplish this task or this project or whatever it happens to be. You have to have honed your skills so that you have the capacity to be able to accomplish the task that you have set for yourself. So you need to be prepared for the thing that you are doing. And if you're not, if you didn't bring the agenda, if you didn't look up that piece of information that you knew you were going to need for this particular circumstance, if you didn't take 5 minutes to rest and recuperate and think about why you were going to meet this person, then there's a really good chance you're not going to perform at a high level. So preparing yourself, taking 5 minutes to look up somebody's information on LinkedIn and really make sure you know where they're coming from, or to review that email with the agenda to make sure you know what's going to be talked about, or to just consider what you're hoping to get out of this thing and really truly know what a good outcome is. That's what being prepared looks like in a lot of circumstances. And that's what high performers do in order to be successful. And the last one, productivity. So many people want to start with this idea of how do I maximize my productivity? But to be perfectly frank, folks, you can't be productive until you hit these other steps, right? Until you are positive, until you are prepared, until you are present and in the moment, until you have a true purpose for what you're trying to accomplish, then you can't be productive. Now, there are a lot of ways out there to be truly productive with your time, right? You can automate things, you can delegate things, you can kill things and get rid of them, get them off your plate if you really truly have to be super productive and it's not serving you anymore. But again, goes back to that purpose. If it's not serving you, you probably didn't have a good purpose for doing it. But being productive is that last step for our high performance ability to be able to see ourselves get to that next level in ourselves and in our lives. So those are the 5 P's of performance: purpose, presence, positivity, preparedness, and finally, productivity. So now that we've talked a little bit about the 5 steps, let's dive in a little bit more into how we are going to see these things come to fruition and what that's ultimately going to do for us in the future. So